think it is this one that I'm supposed to watch 4 days ago. Yes, that is the one. This is interesting. So, what has happened? Steam complies with hypocritical feminist group and sets concerning new censorship standard. My ref says desu. Anyways, this is interesting. So what has happened is payment processors essentially censored Steam, censored itch.io. They love to censor also Japan. So you can't buy things from Japan because Japan just says fuck off. We'll just sell our stuff in our country. Payment processors have too much power, and with the recent censorships from the UK, this just plays perfectly in. This just goes perfectly in. They really love censorship, don't they? They really love. I also wonder, since they said like it's to protect kids. At least for the UK stuff, right? For the, well, not, it's also here in Europe. I can't see certain tweets. In general, well, the UK is Europe, but like the EU. I wonder, since this happened so fast back to back, if that's somehow connected in a way. We'll just go in.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So today we're going to be going over some very concerning developments regarding the video game industry, and this is something that unfortunately a lot of people should have seen coming because the trend was heading in this direction for a very long time. Now with videos like this, I have to remind some people of the new way stuff works on YouTube. Apparently, the only way you
also remember, not safe for work stuff got nuked. That does not just include the freaky games. That may include not safe for work, or like stories that are a little more violent. Mental health stuff is technically usually not considered safe for work. It's gonna be terrible. Cause why it's good cracking down the corn. On the other hand, first they come for the corn games and then they come for everything else. Usually.
Probably count as a view, even if you watch the whole video, is if you're an engaged viewer, someone who likes, subs, or comments. That's the new system. It's really stupid, but all those sorts of engaged activities, quote unquote, do help videos like this get out there because it's already kind of destroyed.
Cool, the ref is already talking about. That's fairly cool. Some correction. Engaged views are also not just liking and subbing and sharing. Engaged views are also just watch time above a certain threshold. We just don't know what that threshold is. We just don't know that. So please, they don't care about protecting kids over here. I'm not surprised. I mean, looking at what kind of people they let in. Not surprised. At least this means Steam will remove the No Mercy game. That was already removed, I think. That already got nuked. Which I agree that it should get nuked. On the other hand, I think it's hypocritical because a lot of other stuff is just like that. Also, a lot of other stuff that women consume is just like that. It's just here nobody bats an eye. It's just there nobody bats an eye. If that's not okay, all the other stuff should not be okay either. That's the only problem I have. Not that it was removed. That we're not consistent.
Because of the heavy topics in today's video. So all that stuff helps. Don't feel like any obligation to do that, but I just wanted to mention that so you can help out my channel and other channels you enjoy as well. So as you can see, Steam updates its rules to comply with payment processor censorship, purges multiple titles. Details below by Niche Gamer here. And if you start looking around, the main subject for today's video is this group called Collective Shout.
I don't like these people. I don't like these people because of censorship. Here's Croc. Hi, Croc. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. I hate censorship.
That prides themselves on trying to end the objectification of women and the sexualization of girls in media. Now, as you might already guess, this is going to be filled with a lot of feminist-type propaganda, a lot of misdirection where these sorts of concerns are ultimately aimed at attacking creative freedom in video games in particular. And you're also going to see some disturbing levels of hypocrisy as this group has come out.
Oh no, it's TERFs. Even though I don't like that term, it's femme extremists. Oh no, none of it's okay. I'm not denying that. I'm just glad that game is gone and now the rest can go. I'm not a fan of censorship.
And defended the undefendable in media. But let's continue on. So recently they made an effort where they targeted payment processors and made an open letter to all these companies to say, hey, stop monetizing these problematic behaviors. And they tag all kinds of payment processors like PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, what have you. And guess what? It worked. They got hundreds of games removed from Valve.
Like, here, right? Here. That is the problem, right? This can go. I agree with that. This can go. If it's genuinely that, this can go. I'm fine with that, right? These two I don't particularly care about. I guess this one, if you enjoy watching that stuff, I do think you're weird. I don't care about these two in particular. It depends on how it's used. But this can go. I'm fine with that.
All kinds of payment processors like PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, what have you. And guess what? It worked. They got hundreds of games removed from Valve, and a lot of these are small, niche games with hardcore themes. There's no way around it. And as someone who has no interest in these games in the first place, I still think they should exist if people want to purchase them. If you're an adult, you have the ability to go out and do those things. I think that is within your rights. And anyone who is complaining otherwise, either
the child abuse stuff, if genuinely, bro, that's weird. That's weird. That's weird. I'm not gonna lie, that's really weird. The other two are weird, but the last one is really, really weird.
One, they should not play games that are already labeled as these adult topics or adult content. And on top of that, if you're worried about kids getting into it, that is a parental issue. You have to control the media that your children are consuming. That's on you as a parent. That is not something new. That's been the case for a very, very long time. Now, within all this, there was also a new rule put onto Valve. We can say content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular certain kinds of adult-only content. I cannot stress enough to you how vague and open this is. This could target pretty much your
this can target, that's the problem, it can target anything. You could make a video game that covers heavy mental illness themes, right? Not in like a glorifying way, right? In like a serious manner, right? And it just could get nuked. Also, adult only content. Does that include every game? That could include every game that's 18 plus, like even shooters, everything. I mean, certain kinds. It's just very vague. I know the kinds they mean was just sexual, but still. See, fighting against objectification and sexualization of girls, especially little girls. Makes sense, yeah. Is a good idea because that's bad. But these companies never advocate correctly, so people don't listen, care. True.
Typical, like, hentai game, all the way to, like, Baldur's Gate 3 and games like that. This is a huge net that they're casting to the point where people are really noticing. The backlash on this has been immense. This is a small group of Australian feminists that somehow have convinced Valve to
of course, Australia.
Take down titles and set new standards. And thank God, people are starting to notice. There's a lot of backlash on social media to the point where Elon Musk is trying to spread awareness about this issue with payment processors. Now, of course, if you've been paying attention, especially to my channel, or anyone...
That's right. That's like the hypocrisy of these payment processors, right? That is fine. Yet, you take OF money. See, Visa Japan CEO says disabling card payment for legal adult content is necessary to protect the brand. That's the first hypocrisy. Exclusive US whistleblower says MasterCard Visa failed to stop payments for child abuse material on OF. You see where that hypocrisy comes from Visa and MasterCard? You know where that comes from? I think people are just really mad that these fuckers are just never consistent. Oh, so that niche weird game is a problem, but you're okay with the hub and OF. That's weird. Why you always target fictional content and not real content? Do you want to know how many corn websites out there that promote non-consensual stuff where you can pay, like non-consensual roleplay stuff? That's weird. Odd. At least be consistent.
Kind of in this space, we've been talking about this for a long time. There has been concerns over and over again about how this sort of, I guess, cycle with payment processors will extend beyond the initial targets. The initial targets being a lot of Japanese companies, particularly art platforms, video games, manga, all that stuff. Basically, these payment processors were pressured or on their own volition went out and said to these companies, if you don't get rid of this problematic content, we're pulling our services, basically rendering them with no monetization whatsoever. If you lose Visa, Chase, MasterCard, whatever, you're basically dead in the water.
It's also always targeting Japan. It's always targeting Japan. Because Japan is one of the very few countries where there is quite a small amount of censorship. That's why they're always targeting it. And it's the only country that has the kind of a pushback. Because no one cares about CSAM anymore. My old head teacher literally used to make it. What the fuck? Admitted that in court and faced no prison time. What the fuck? But then again, one of our strongest parties originally promoted to make that stuff legal. So, well, I'm not surprised, particularly. Hold on, there's hentai games. I thought that was just videos. Yeah, on Steam there is. And on itch.io there was. They nuked all NSFW games, straight up, all of them. And even there's a few who are named like that on the Switch, apparently.
You're losing your entire monetization scheme. So you have really a Sophie's choice. Censor yourself and keep your payment processors and anger all of your customers, or ignore it and basically have no way to monetize yourself. It's really bad, and you can see this happen a lot in Japan, and people were saying, this is going to go beyond Japan. So many antis and other pro-censorship people were saying, oh, who cares? It's those icky Japanese video games. Who cares? Oh, you guys are a bunch of gooners, bunch of losers. Who cares? And people who are mature about this say, hey, that might not even be my cup of tea, but this is a horrible standard that's going to eventually extend to places like Steam, and that's exactly what's happening. And also, you can see the prioritization of these payment processors. We talked about this as well.
That's the problem I'm saying. First, it might be these weirdo games, right? Which I'm saying, they're not good. Hell nah. It's weird as fuck if you consume that, I'm gonna be honest. Do I want them banned? Not particularly. Not really. It's weird as fuck, though. It's honestly really weird. Why are you into that? Why does that get you going? Icky. However, this will be extended to other stuff. For now, it's the corn games. Next, it will be games that promote ideas that are not with the in the public consensus. That whose ideology does not fit with the modern eventually and other stuff.
A few months ago, where there was a whistleblower that came out and said MasterCard and Visa turned a very blind eye to how their payment processing was used to profit from abuse material.
I wonder who the payment processor is for that kids website where you can minors can do lewd stuff. Where that Piper girl is as well. I forgot her name. Piper Raquel, something like that. So I wonder what the payment processor for that one is. Not to make any allegations here.
Targeting children that was being uploaded on OnlyFans. And there was almost no real recourse taken by OnlyFans. In fact, they pretty much denied this was happening. And despite evidence that it was possibly happening. And that's the kind of standards we're working with here, right? Video games, bad. OnlyFans abusing or uploading content that's abusing children. Totally fine by their standards, I guess. Now, of course, going back to Collective Shout, they've done...
Not yet. Ooh, that's an interesting threat. I might be on their side for this one. Just for this one. Not yet.
Nothing about OnlyFans yet. They've gone after these video games for a very long time now, but they haven't been able to take down OnlyFans. And I can't imagine why. Well, first of all, it seems, as it'll be very clear, they don't have a priority for helping out real-life people. Real-life children, for that matter.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. It's all... With these activists, it's always... I can only target fictional content, but I cannot help real people. I cannot. It's always weird. That's why I'm always... When this Lala debate comes up, I'm always like, I find this funny. You cry out about fictional material. What have you done to support actual real victims? What have you done to support finding actual real victims and outing actual predators? That's weird. Nothing? That's odd. Because beyond words, you have nothing to offer.
They focus on video games, and in particular, you can see them celebrating their big win 2 days ago about how they got hundreds of adult-themed games removed from Steam, and that's not surprising, right? It's a lot easier to go after some game that was developed by one dude on his own versus going after major platforms or any sort of real-life harm going on that'll actually take a lot of effort. This is why they celebrate stuff like this as a major win. And just think about the things they're saying here about these taboo themes that they're getting rid of. Like, this is the bane of women's rights. Games like The Coffin of Andy and Lele.
It does have an incest theme. I'm not gonna deny that. I don't really care, man.
And like I said, this could target basically everything. These new Steam rules, if you apply them correctly, it could go after like Grand Theft Auto, Baldur's Gate, all of these games, and you know, it's just crazy.
If applied the way it's supposed to, you actually could go after any game if it promotes something that you don't like, technically. Because most people don't want to face the reality of what those kids go through. So they target games and art because it keeps them distant from the real abuse. True, but the problem is that in many places, it's not even illegal. So when you send, for example, in the United States, if you send that to the FBI or anything like that, right? They're gonna have to look through that stuff every single time, which wastes valuable resources, and those are resources that could be to help actual victims. I haven't heard about Andy and Lele in a while. Whoa. yeah, that game.
See the scope of this, and people don't seem to realize this.
I remember when that game released, and Twitter started spiraling.
And this was heading our way for a very long time. Now, if you think it just ends there with these like 18 plus games, no, it doesn't. This company, this group, has been targeting many games outside of that scope we just described.
Detroit Become Human? What? Detroit Become Human because there's violence against children and violence against women. So are we no longer allowed to cover these heavy themes? Also, what a double standard. Violence against women, well, why is there not stopping the game Detroit Become Human depicting child abuse, violence against women and violence against men? What is that double standard? Just remove all violence. You know, even animal violence. Let's sue Pokemon for abusing animals. What are we doing? Detroit Become Human? Really?
Including games like Detroit Become Human. They're trying to get this banned in Australia, making a real effort to do so. He made another effort against Grand Theft Auto 5. And by the way, this was successful. This actually succeeded and got games removed from Target and Kmart's. Okay? And here's...
This is just no 18 plus stuff at all. This is essentially just no violence at all. As the game is trying to promote it, then it's not an issue. It's just raising awareness of it. Well, Detroit Become Human is not promoting it. So, this is weird. This is a weird group.
Here's another big win for this company. They were able to help bully and harass a local bakery that was selling a shirt called "We Got the Best Buns in Town."
I know it has two meanings, but if you see a bakery, okay, if you see a bakery and you think sexually, you are the weirdo. It's like when seeing a father interact with his child, and you see it in a sexual lens, you are the weirdo. Similar thing, you are the weirdo. They're not talking about act retarded. Lucky won that shirt because that's hilarious. It is. Quit having fun. There's no way they harass this little bakery. No way.
Because apparently this was objectifying women to such a degree they had to be publicly shamed.
But what if the man was wearing the shirt? What then? What are you gonna do then?
And attacked into removing this. This is the kind of stuff they're doing. Don't you get it? They like bullying people. They like bullying people into having their content removed. They don't go after the big guys largely. They go after the small guys. And that's how they really get these major wins for them. Now let's rip the Band-Aid off. This is the same company that defended the Netflix.
Can I get a tissue? Might need to clean my eyes. Am I seeing that correctly? Am I seeing that correctly? Am I seeing that correctly? Cuties, an ethically problematic but powerful protest against the sexualization of girls? Yes. What a powerful protest. Depicting girls doing sexual dances. Wow. There is no way. There's no way. Are they French by any... They're Australian, but are they run by French people by any chance? Nah, this can't be real. This can't be real. Oh no. Why do you do that? This is not a protest. This was a movie with mild CSAM.
Netflix, I don't even like calling it a film, Cuties. Now, for those who are blessed enough to not know what Cuties is,
I am not blessed enough. This was all over my For You page on YouTube, everywhere, TikTok, everywhere. Hey, how are you? Hi, Private Fortune. How are you doing? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Yes, I do. Hello, buddy.
That was a quote-unquote film uploaded to Netflix a couple years ago that was produced in France, and the entire theme of that movie was basically a child's twerking competition.
That's what it was. Never watched Cuties based on reviews. It literally sounds like Nun's Heaven. You can be glad you've never watched it or have seen any clips. I have seen clips. This is disgusting, and it took ages for Netflix to take it down. Ages. Like last year, 2 years ago, they took it down. That is one of the most heinous shit that we've ever tolerated. Of course, it's French. I'm not surprised.
No, this was not animated. This was not a video game. This was using real child actors around the ages of 11 and 12. And this was out there, and people like Collective Shout defended this. And we'll see, they defend it even more than what you're seeing right here. That's how messed up their priorities
How worse can it get?
are. Many such cases right here. The people crying about video games and anime and things like that, coming out and defending something like Cuties that was exploiting real child actors. In fact, the audition process for this, which of course would include a lot of inappropriate behavior, included hundreds of children. And they're defending this while claiming to be advocates for these young girls. Now, let's...
What the fuck? So disgusted. This is so disgusting, dude, bro.
go to this individual, Melinda Tankard Rice, who is the co-founder of this, right? This group, and other groups kind of in the same lane, so to speak. And they defended cuties.
Cool. Akuma Miko. Cool that she's here. Rare situation of her seeing here. Yeah, that's crazy that you defended it. Also, she said like everyone who watches anime is a man and a pedophile, by the way. Similar stuff like that, right? Where somebody like her said that stuff. And yeah. Mika just posted that she's a woman, which probably made this chick explode. It's like crazy. It's like actually crazy. It's like that actress who got photographed for Playboy at 12. Ugh.
As well, saying some thoughts on hashtag cuties and why they are not calling for a ban. And you'll see the hypocrisy is through the roof. They're the same person who mentioned...
How can you not ban? How can you not ban that kind of movie?
Years ago, went after many different games, saying that
Tomb Raider, Cortana, and this should be Dead or Alive, I think. I could be wrong. I think it should be. It could be. There are way worse stuff. I know VTubers that look worse. Also, it's like, that's like the problem. If women have big breasts, it's sexualized. If women are flat, it's a child. Women cannot win. Even with their own bodies, they cannot win.
Poontang influenced heroines in video games are causing damage to an entire generation of Australian children, and they have to be stopped. And basically they say, down here, this is a quote from Melinda, that attraction is drawn to her sexual characteristics, with tight clothing emphasizing large, surgically enhanced breasts.
None of these women went through surgery. Okay, and I'm gonna say this. Yes, men like to look at attractive women. And you know, here's a spoiler alert. Incredible spoiler alert. So do you women. Straight up. There's a reason why male Marvel Rivals characters look the way they do. There's a reason why a lot of like male Final Fantasy characters look the way they do. I used to sweat Tomb Raider on my Nintendo DS. Okay. It's like, bro, I'm sorry. People like attractive people. Had a crush on Cortana in my early Xbox days. Okay, understandable. Whereas I made one hell of a figure. Yeah. The hottest hologram out there.
So apparently if you have a busty frame, it was surgically enhanced. That's insane. And look at the characters they use as examples. You got Hanukkah.
This is not even. I'm gonna be honest, these boobs are not big. There's worse. There's worse. You picked the more tame designs out there. One is a hologram, and two are just women. That's crazy. Very true. I don't want to play a game with ugly characters, male or female. What, you don't want to play Concord? Or the new Fable?
You got Lara Croft, and then of course you got Cortana. What? What are we doing? Who let these Karens have any power whatsoever? It's insane. Who listens to these people? Clearly someone who's not interested in creative liberties or, I don't know, making money, but they're listening to these maniacs. And in their tweet sharing that article, they were
Lumpy! What is Lumpy doing here? Well, he said he was in it to begin with, so that's cool. This is my viewer. This is my boy. This is my boy. Lumpy here. In a ref video. That's crazy. Literally, my only critique of female game characters is when they're sent to war in a bikini. Please give my girl some armor. I'm going to cry. Maybe that's the tactic. Maybe the men are just incapable of fighting because they need to goon.
Are part of. Someone asked recently, only 15 hours ago, on this old post, saying, how about you talk about the millions of child brides in Yemen? And Melinda says, I have, in other countries too, work with NGOs globally trying to stop child marriage. And the previous poster says, can you show us? Crickets. Crickets across the board.
Because they can't show anything, because they're not doing anything. That's like, same energy with like these feminists, because that's what at the end of the day they are, right? They're like, oh, we need to stop the oppression of women here, and this and that. Okay. You've done that. Do you have the balls to go to China? Do you have the balls to go into the Middle East? Oh, you don't. That's weird. So you only fight battles that you're absolutely certain you can win. That's very interesting. It's just because you don't care enough. You just don't care enough. Because because, you know, if you actually tried to change something in places where they don't like you as much, you'd probably die. Similar, I hate when male characters go to war in loincloths, unless they're orcs, then that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Because they don't care about kids that aren't CGI, or animated, or anything like that, true. It's just like, bro. A classic.
And understand this Melinda person is terminally online. They're tweeting like every waking minute of their day, so they definitely.
She got brutalized. 70 quotes, 70 likes, 322 replies. You got your ass beaten. And probably multiple languages too. Back in 2017. Already. Cool.
Saw this, okay, and they knew they had nothing to respond with whatsoever. Now, I always make the connection between a lot of these pro-censorship people, especially the ones who go to payment processors, having a big issue with anything anime-themed or anything that seems like it has any sort of tie to Japanese animation or art style, right? And, of course, Melinda has joined in on the fight to try to take down Grok's new...
That is crazy. Bitch tries to kill Grok. Poor Annie getting fought out here. Also, it's very weird. What about all these other apps where you can, in fact, talk to AIs role-playing as actual children? I find that interesting. I find that interesting. Yes, please delete Annie. I'm different though. You want to delete Annie because she's sexual. I want to delete Annie because I think AI chatbots are creepy, especially AI girlfriends. We are not the same.
New AI waifu system, which I talked about a couple videos ago if you want to get more information on that. There's a group of feminists, including Melinda, who are going out there and trying to get this banned because they believe this is a sexualized, childlike animation. And they think this is really harming people, including sharing posts from this Haley McNamara individual who thinks this is a child in proximity to sexual comments because it described being aroused by being choked. The reach here is insane. But look at this individual, right? Melinda retweeted this person who is a part of this National Center on Sexual Exploitation. And we'll see another person from that in just a second. And it's crazy, the inconsistencies between these groups. These groups work together. These two groups we've mentioned, Collective Shout and this National Center here, they work very closely. And just in 2020, this Haley McNamara person said that Cuties is socially irresponsible. It harms people. It wasn't necessary. Nobody needed this sort of message. The message is implicit. You don't have to show it using real kids. This is disgusting. But then she's working closely with a company and some people who routinely defended that film.
True. You can't. That's why I'm always look at people's actions instead of what they're saying, because what they're saying is nonsense. This is nonsense. You cannot work with a company and people that support this movie. Have these women ever met children, and he does not look or act like a child? You think these women have children so that they would ever see children? You think these women are around children when they don't have any themselves, likely?
With their entire chest is hard.
Who's the beta that would marry this? Okay, there's enough. Never mind.
As they could. Make it make sense. And it gets even weirder because this person, Danny Pinter, who we mentioned in my video talking about this new AI waifu system, is also a member of this same National Center. And of course, Melinda retweets them as well. And you can see how interconnected all of this is. And this is the person who called this poontang culture and said, if you think normalizing and utilizing an almost childlike appearing poontangified female anime character with spicy mode who strips as your AI chatbot.
Yes, because a kid would wear lingerie definitely would happen. Not. This is not even a child. This is not even a child. It's a fucking robot. It's a clanker. It can't even consent. Because it will always consent to whatever you type in. They could find a man, but it would probably be a trans woman. True.
Tool does not affect how you see women or desensitize you to SA/exploitation, then basically we're screwed as a society. And this is, again, insane projection. If you look at this system of this busty anime girl and you immediately start thinking of children, that's a red flag.
That's a red... I think you should be on that list. Not the one who made it. That's crazy. I bet it's childlike because she got pigtails. You means the hair of consent? We got many. The chest size of consent, the butt size of consent, the eyes of consent, the height of consent, the heads of consent. We had that one with the chick that Brittany Venti going after Gura because, you know, she's not enough head sizes large, and then people making fun of Venti because her own measurement didn't match her description of what an adult would be. Very interesting. We got plenty. Can we stop infantilizing women with youthful appearances? I hate it. And I've noticed it especially with having a girlfriend that looks like a middle schooler but is the 22-year-old woman. It's annoying. To be fair, my aunt 10 years ago still had to show her ID, even though she was a woman in her late 30s. It happens.
On you, buddy. On top of that, you know, again, they're making these claims like, oh, consuming these things will harm you or encourage you to do these certain things in real life. They can't produce anything that's reliable to prove that.
They cannot produce any material at all. It's the same thought process as shooters create crazy people that run into schools and kill. Same argument. No. First-person shooters do not do that. Over time, yeah, a little. I overestimated how long this would take.
I mean, this is basically Jack Thompson 2.0, right? Where he came out many years ago and led a crusade filled with 90s soccer moms to go after Grand Theft Auto because the violence in those games would be replicated in real life if those games weren't banned. And obviously that fell apart when people realized, oh, this guy has no standing whatsoever to back up his claims that his entire movement hinged upon. But of course, again, here's another person from this collective shout group saying, retweet, hashtag Japan bans possession of CP but excludes manga comics or anime video. Again, you might think these things with manga or anime might be disgusting to you. That's fine. But this isn't really the own she thinks it is. It's showing that Japan knows the difference between material that's abusing real kids versus fiction. Again, you can have an issue morally, but to compare the two is just wrong, and the fact that they don't get that Well, there's a reason why they
Oh,
have
look at that! I am Nora down here too. A lot of people. Legal lolly. Lollies are legal. Kind of.
1 like and 45 comments. It is brutal. But there's one more repost from Melinda about this subject, where this person she repost says pervert nerds are responsible for most of society's ills. Prove me wrong. Yep. They're blaming the disgusting pervy gamers. They're also blaming incels in many of the comments. It's just so predictable with these types. It's not even funny.
Are the incels in the room with us right now? Are they? Are they in the room with us right now? I mean, I've been called an incel. I'm in a relationship. So, and I went into marriage, so that falls apart anyways. Odd. Odd. Big difference between a drawing and actual season. I got destroy these women's minds with some stories for real. They would probably burn up.
And of course, Melinda's getting very upset. Okay? They're trying to masquerade what they're doing as saving all of these young girls from being exploited, when in reality, they're using a bunch of Steam games to try to make a connection with no evidence that it's somehow going to protect kids if those games are banned.
None of these will protect kids, because none of these will protect kids when you ban these, right? Because here's the fact. I don't think most children know how to open Steam. I don't think most children even have a PC to open Steam. Most kids won't find access to itch.io. That won't happen. This won't happen. Actually, they probably wouldn't care because I'm a real person. They would be like, what? That happens in real life? I thought it was just fiction.
And you can see their associate saying all the violent poontang addled.
Like, hey, this happened to me when I was a child. But what about the fictional girls? What about the 2,000-year-old dragon lolly? She cannot be abused.
Incels in your mentions, and she says, ha, yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, they're immediately trying to play the victim. This whole thing is blown up in their face. Yeah, they were successful in getting this new Steam rule and guidelines, but people are tearing them apart on social media. And they got so upset, they released a follow-up article saying, we're calling on payment processors to stop profiting from these taboo themes. So naturally, misogynistic gamers have doubled down in defense of...
I'm a misogynistic gamer. I don't care.
Their R-word games. We've responded to their claims here. Again, if you don't like these things, don't play them. Don't seek them out. You're never going to accidentally come across these games. And if you're concerned about kids being exposed to this sort of stuff, you should always be concerned about what kids are consuming, but that is a parental issue. That is something parents need to take charge of when it comes to...
I would say that it depends. Because let's face it, children aren't retarded. A lot of them are, but children aren't retarded. They will find stuff even if they don't want to. They will find... the kids can find stuff. It's easy to find corn. Not gonna lie. And other weird shit, especially on YouTube. So there needs to be some curation, because when the algorithm promotes it, remember, when you first download TikTok, you get bombarded by half-naked women. Like literally, you get spammed until you fix your algorithm. So it really depends on the website and what that algorithm is doing. It really depends. I think Instagram Reels had the same issue. So you need to be careful. Now, this stuff is so niche that no kid would come across. This, definitely not. Oh, how dare I talk about trauma when a video game girl has big boobs? Exactly, how dare you? Video game girl lives matter.
Video games. That's how it's always been. But in the article where they're talking about misogynistic males attacking them, they say all these these men are attacking them just because they're hateful men. And then they cite Madame Savvy.
Hateful men. Madam Savvy. How can you cite hateful men and show Madam Savvy? Isn't she a woman? Did I miss an update? I'm pretty sure Savvy is a woman. I'm pretty sure. You gross little pro-censorship piggy. Tell me, how does this help the women being raped in the UK by men who don't play games? Literally. They ain't playing games. Tell me how that's gonna help women getting done things to by foreigners who don't belong there. Or women in Australia. I don't think Australia actually takes a lot of immigrants from that part of the world.
Who, if you're not familiar, we talked about her a couple times. She is a woman, so because they see criticism made by a woman, they automatically assume it must be a man. Seems a bit offensive, if you ask me, especially for a group that's so pro-women, right? But things keep going, and eventually they really go on their victim arc, where they say, "You are morally bankrupt and destroying civilization. How dare you say gamers getting off to blah, 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 makes kids violent, ? Also in my inbox this morning. With a bunch of very violent messages, right? But the problem is the domain on that email produces no results, which reminds a lot of people of an old situation from about 10 years ago with the original Gamergate, when that started back then, where you had Brianna Wu, who was trying to say, as a female developer, I'm being harassed by all of these misogynistic males. And they showed proof with a screenshot from this community page where basically they say, is Brianna Wu a...
And there was nothing there. I fear I've triggered myself by watching this video. Interesting. Calm down, it's all good. It's just in the video. It's just a bunch of retards. Not a big deal.
Terrible person? Blah, 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 blah. This person says running out of ammo or something, Brianna, because unfortunately they try to create a fake post but didn't have their developer account logged out, so it showed that they were a developer, not a random user. Caught in 4K, and that's what a lot of people are saying about this, but it doesn't help the allies over at Collective Shouts from saying, I note that all of these men sending vile threats never seem to input their real email addresses. They're happy to say the most disgusting thing whilst hiding behind their keyboards, but never show us their face. So cowardly. Why would anyone...
I find that weird as like a gotcha, right? I found that weird. You know why I find it weird? Why would I? If I say some heinous shit, why would I use my face? Why would I use my actual email address? Why would I do that? That's not smart. If anything, these men are smart. Vile, but smart.
When show their face to people like you would weaponize it and like try to ruin their lives. We've seen you do it with little local bakeries. I mean, that's how crazy it gets. But there's something interesting going on here. We talked about this yesterday, actually.
Oh no. Anna Valens, please don't. I beg of you. Please don't. Please nod.
Towards the end of my video. Anna Valens, the very controversial, very disliked, now former Vice reporter, actually made an article talking about everything going on here with what we've been discussing today, and their article got shut down. They came out with this: group behind Steam's censorship policies have powerful allies and targeted popular games with outlandish claims. And eventually, their article was taken down pretty quickly, I think within 24 hours. And they have now like protested, so to speak. A bunch of Vice journalists have now quit. And there's a lot to say about this. You know, we have a million criticisms of Anna Valens. But the thing is, this person is like the last, I guess, champion of this cause, right? Vice, number one, I think, was tired of them. And I think it's very...
Wait. Am I agreeing with Anna Valens? No! I don't want to, but I have to. I guess the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Very clear. They were about to head out the door, and they said, "Wait a second, I'm not fired. I quit." And it's because this person has made multiple now deleted hit pieces on the VTuber Kirsha. They made a hit piece on the VTuber group via lore, and ironically enough, They were trying to cancel that group for problematic adult themes in their content. But now this person's turning around saying, hey, wait a second, not these games on Steam. These are ones we have to defend. Too late. You're a hypocrite. Because you ignored it in other contexts. You wanted to cancel other people over that sort of stuff. But now...
Is that an outing? That Anna Valens is into that shit? Oh no.
Now you want to say, wait a second, you know, live and let live with this content in these video games. But I also think the worst candidate to kind of run this campaign, and Vice knew it, right? This is a person who is like everything this group is going after, like all of the behavior they've done over the years, like it would have backfired really badly. But there's another funny story before we head out today, where you have this Khalif guy, Khalif Positivity Peddler Adams, who is someone who's very buddy-buddy with a lot of people in the gaming industry, who came out initially saying, catching up on some news from the weekend, major props to Collective Shout. Would love to have someone from the team come on our podcast and talk about the campaign. This has since been deleted because this person is a massive, massive, massive hypocrite and basically supports all of the games that they've gone after, including Detroit Become Human, as well as Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 6 through the previews of that. So, yeah, you can't really do that when you're trying to celebrate Collective Shout, who wants to ban everything that you're basically trying to promote.
Caught in 4K for being a hypocrite. We love to see that. We love that.
In your own tweets. Very hypocritical, but unfortunately the situation was visible from a mile away, and that's what's truly disappointing. We now have to really pick up the pieces and go after this aggressively because now it's touching platforms like Steam. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below.
Yeah, this is depressing news. Because while it may hit these Grows games, it will hit other stuff. Until there's a point where it's just hello 1943. Hello darkness, my old friend. Yeah, I just think that censorship is bad, even if these things are gross, really gross. Just let them be there, let them rot. Let weirdos consume it. As long as they're not doing it IRL. I don't much care. But yeah, it's femme extremists once again ruin it for everyone. A classic. Like, comment, and subscribe.